Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into this album's 15-year anniversary. Well, I should have done this yesterday, but I didn't know it was the anniversary until, well, when I woke up this morning, I was looking on Instagram and I saw apparently this was yesterday, but yeah, better late than ever, right? And as you can see by the title, today we're going to be looking into Shadows Are Security by As I Lay Dying. This is the band's third album, released on June 14th, 2005 through Metal Blade Records. Now, As I Lay Dying for me are pretty much one of my favorite metalcore bands. First hearing them back in high school, and they've pretty much stuck with me. I feel like in the year 2005, this album, along with like Ascendancy by Trivium or even City of Evil by Avenged Sevenfold, I feel like that was sort of like the big year for like metalcore, like from even like going back to like the late 90s up to like 2007 were the good years. But I feel like after 08, I feel like it's changed a bit with more of the poppy-ish vocals and then sort of like breakdowns 24/7. But anyway, right, this album is pretty good. Like, of course, this follows up their previous album, Frail Words Collapse, and after this would come probably my favorite album, If There's an Ocean Between Us. But this album is another great album. This will probably be like my second or third favorite As I Lay Dying album. Like, just vocally on this album, Tim Lambesis just sounds really great. It's like his growls pretty just mesh really well. The guitar work is pretty tight. This is the first album to feature Phil Segracio and Nick Hippa on guitars, and just the riffs that they both come up with are just great. And just like the soloing, I believe it's Nick that does the soloing and Phil sort of like holds down the rhythm. And the bass playing wise, I wish it was turned up a little bit more. In fact, on this album, although they have a bass player, Clint Norris, at the time, he didn't even play bass on this. From what I heard, it was Phil that actually tracked all the bass, because from what I heard according to Tim, like they didn't have enough time to go through all the parts and stuff. They just wanted to speed it up fastly. And drumming wise, Jordan Mancino, my God, one of, in my opinion, the most underrated drummers in just metal in general. Just like the sick double bass drumming that he does and all around is just fucking amazing. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is A Meaning in Tragedy, which starts off with a pretty good metal riff, which actually, that riff kind of reminds me of the song I Rate Myself by a metalcore band from Germany, Caliban. I don't know, just like the riffs sound like that. Dun, 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 dun. I just feel like those two riffs kind of sound together. In fact, I don't know if somebody should make like a mashup of like Meaning and Tragedy and I Rate Myself. But yeah, but anyway, back to Meaning and Tragedy. It's a pretty good way to start off this album. Starts off with I don't know, it just sounds a little bit weird, but then it just boom, hits with a pretty basic riff and some power chords played over it. And then it just goes into like a lead break played over it. And then just like the singing kicks in. And I love how Tim's vocals are pretty good on this, and there's really good breakdowns and a pretty good way to end right here. Great way to ending here. Moving on to Confin'D, which is the first single released from this album. It starts off with a pretty good drum roll on the snare, and then it kicks in with the guitars, and then the riff's just introducing sort of like the singing just goes right in hell, and then I love how Tim's vocals are just strong. And the lyrics, I feel like it's talking about how everything is just meaningless. And the chorus is pretty much sung with clean vocals. Well, I believe it was, from what I heard, Dave Arthur from the band Zayo, if I'm not mistaken. And I just love the chorus on here. It's a good song. Moving on to Losing Sight, right, which is another typical As I Lay Dying song with some strong riffs and some singing. And there's some pretty good riffs from Phil and Nick, and the drumming is just from Jordan is just amazing as always. And then we move on to probably my favorite song on the album, The Darkest Nights, which is another single, and it's a good song, but it's not as heavy, but it's still a good song, if I should say. It starts the riff perfectly, and the first riffs are just great. Right, sorry, I can't even speak today. I'm getting a little bit excited right here. I especially love like the pre-chorus has like a good riffing and stuff, which almost kind of sounds very melodic death metal-ish, because I know a lot of like all the Swedish mellow death pretty much was what all the current like metalcore from the US at the time, like them, Killswitch Engage and stuff, were pretty much all inspired with. But yeah, I just love like the chorus is just pretty great with clean vocals. Is and just the lyrics on that song is like, these thoughts will carry me through the darkness nights while your eyes rest in. Great, very good song. Moving on to Empty Hearts, which is pretty much a pretty dark song compared to what we've heard so far. And the riffs on here are okay, but I feel like it's a little bit uneven. But I just think the standout, in my opinion, is the guitar solo on here, which I believe it's Phil. It might be Nick. I don't even know. But whoever it is, they shred the shit out of the guitar. Great song. Moving on to Reflection, which I love. The main riff at the beginning of it is really good, with just some fast picking and just some heavy chords played over it. And the verse is good, but I feel like the vocals from Tim are a little bit growly. But I would love around like less than 2 minutes and probably around 1:50, there's a really great breakdown. Repeating Yesterday, which is one of the few songs from As I Lay Dying that are pretty slow. It starts off with a very slow riff without any distortion, and then just taking over with a little bit of a weird computerish voice, and that kicks in with some heavy big chords and some octaves played while it's sort of like Tim screams. Great song. Then we move on to one of my favorite songs on here, which is Through Struggle, which starts with some open chords played with a great drum riff, and then it just kicks into another great riff before speeding up in the verse. And I love how after a breakdown it kicks off into the chorus, which is sung with clean vocals and with Tim sort of like singing with them all together. I just love how sort of like the screaming and the singing sort of like blends together right here. And then it's just, I don't know, it's a good song. Now moving on to The Truth of My Perception, which starts off with another metalcore riff, and then some insane double bass drumming kicks in, and the chorus is played with octaves and excellence, and it brings, I feel like, a lot of like emotion to the song. And this standout up here would probably be like the guitar solo on here, which isn't technical, but it fits the song, and it sort of like continues like the emotion right on the track. Control is Dead, which is a pretty good song, but if it didn't have like a Dan from Zayo's Growls, in the riffs of this song are probably the lyrics, and the sort of like Tim does his part, but I don't know. Moving on to Morning Waits, which has pretty much a very emotional song, and it has some really great riffs that are emotional, and the best being sort of like the fourth one right here, and I don't know, but I feel like the only little complaint is that it feels a little bit repetitive at times, but that's just me. And then we close the album with Illusions, which is actually a re-recording from a split they did back in like 2001 or so, and it has a guest appearance from Matt from A Throwdown. She does a little singing, which is okay for me, but I don't think it suits the style of music. And this song kind of reminds me a little of Empty Hearts, just like in the way the riffs are played. But I just think the only annoying thing is like there's like a static that was just played for a few minutes, which I just don't know why. It's stupid. But the song, I just don't think it should have ended the album, because I don't feel like it doesn't finish off just like as well as the rest of the songs on here. But anyway, Shadows of Security is another great good album from them, even only their third album in. But yeah, so if I had to give this album a score, I probably would give this a solid 8.5 out of 10, probably 9, somewhere around there. So yeah, that's my review of Shadows of Security by As I Lay Dying, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.